Hello again everybody and welcome back to Celeste. We are going to actually complete the final main story chapter of this game. What I mean by this is that the credits play after it. But there's more game afterward if you so desire. But for now, let's actually begin. Where all of the other chapters introduces two new gimmicks one after another, this one pretty much just gives us a second dash in the air, which changes the game up considerably, more so than you might think at first. And resetting your dash in any way gives you both dashes back. It means touching a dash crystal, touching the ground, interacting with a level gimmick such as a spring or one of these bubbles gives you both dashes. And what you will notice throughout this level is that it's not as intuitive as others when it comes to 100%ing it, mainly because a lot of the strawberries are hidden pretty out of the way in separate rooms, often paths branch off into paths with strawberries, versus the normal path that doesn't have any. But aside from that, it's one of my favorite levels, if not the favorite level. Because it's so awesome, the music and everything, and the challenges, really fun stuff. And there's one collectible that isn't strawberries here, and that's these things, these gems. This is a star-shaped gem. And we are at 500 meters back in the Forsaken City, and we have to climb our way back through it again. Although, different parts than initially. The real life Mount Celeste, by the way, is 2041 meters high. Well, that's its elevation. The prominence is actually 589, which makes it pretty puny mountain, all things considered. And going by this, we should be almost at the summit already, but we're not. The strawberry challenges in this level are considerably tougher than in any of the other levels so far. Like even immediately before it, in the Mirror Temple, which is the last level with actual strawberries, they were much easier than what we have to do here to get them a lot of the times. Well, do you notice that gap down there? Usually in rooms like these, where there's gaps and spikes, the gap is actually non-lethal and leads you somewhere. So let's go there. And this room holds another one of those gems. Well, we've been collecting one so far, but this is the second. There is one in every zone, so to speak. Because we will be making our way through everything again. We start in Reflection, because that's the lowest. More or less, anyway. Visually speaking, none of the gimmicks were actually present. And we're in the Forsaken City, and we will revisit the old site, Celestial Resort, a Golden Ridge, Mirror Temple, and finally, we will be up on our way to the summit. This purple ball actually acts pretty much like touching Madeline in the previous level, only now she's trying to help you instead of pushing you back. Oh, and there's very often something at the end of these zones. Something hidden. We're at 1,000 meters, and now we will revisit my favorite level gimmick, the dream blocks. Now, we're not dreaming right now, but... well, we can still see him and use him. That's fine. So I somehow messed up the fast path through at the part at the end. This is how you're expected to do it on your first go-around. But going diagonally is not very difficult. It's just so satisfying to just dash through these dream blocks. It feels so good. Well, now here we have two paths we can go. We can go up here, which you don't have to do. At least you shouldn't go there if you 100% this level, which is what we're gonna do because we want every strawberry. You wanna go along here. And well, you don't even want to clear this room that way because the actual way to go is through here back into the other room we didn't explore. And now go through here. That's what I mean when I say it's a bit convoluted sometimes to reach everything. Not only does it feel great to just dash through these things, it also looks really cool, even though you're not doing much. And again, something hidden at the end. And 1,500 meters from my favorite straight into my least favorite gimmick. These moving obstacles just really don't mesh well with me. Which is to say, I still think that these levels are really fun. And yep. This one is kind of more well hidden than if it were just, you know, with spikes. For some reason, it just feels like you shouldn't be able to drop down there, but you totally can. And within the rules the game has established so far, it makes perfect sense. As it does here. And now we bypassed that one room. Nice, isn't it? I mean, we went through two much harder rooms, but still, we skipped something. This rhythm section is very similar to the one in Reflections. Which is to say, kind of relies on you, like, dashing in order to delay your landing, so you can actually land when the platform is there. Okay, back on track. And while this room is not one of the longest the game has to offer, it is still pretty long. And Matt Thorson, the level designer of this game, has mentioned in the GDC talk that I actually linked in the thread as well, that whenever the game just doesn't give you a checkpoint when you reach a safe space, it is to raise the stakes. And it does work really well here. This is so far the most obviously hidden of the gems that we've discovered. Because you will basically just see that there's something up. Oh, getting that strawberry took me way more tries than I care to admit. And of course I have to die before the strawberry counts as collected. It only really counts if you touch the ground for a set amount of time, and it has to be safe ground too, like the snow here. Thankfully I got it first try. The second time. Could go to the right there and that would lead us to progress, but of course, stuff is way hidden in this level. And if we hadn't gone here, the room to the right of that drop we took would have just led us here. So you didn't really miss anything. One problem with these pink bubble sections is that if you trigger one and you fall back down, you're screwed. You'll have to either hit retry, which kills you on the spot, or, you know, die. And we are at 2,000 meters, so it goes without saying that this mountain is much higher than the Mount Celeste in real life. And this is our 5th gem already, and it is actually quite hard to get that. I made it look easier than it is, because you already know how exactly you have to move. And you can reach up there. It's a bit finicky, but I find this much easier. However, to do that you have to know that you can dash jump, and dash jump off of clouds. And of course, the wind is back. It's a thing that I see a lot of people hating, and I think I mentioned this originally, but it's actually not that bad. You just have to kind of, you know, dash more to move forward. And finally, the game makes us jump off of the snowball. At least to get a strawberry. And of course, yeah, it's a bit finicky. Oh boy, this room. On my first playthrough, usually when I saw a strawberry, I went and got it. So I only didn't get those that I couldn't find at first. But this one right here, that actually had me go, yeah, I'm gonna skip this for now. But looking back, in retrospect, it's not that difficult, but maybe that's just because I got better at the game. Most likely, that's why it is. Alright, another strawberry seed puzzle. This one can be a bit finicky with the solution that I'm going with, but I think it's the only one that really works. I could be wrong, I didn't really look up any others. But I usually don't really get it on my first few tries. That wasn't neutral climb just there, by the way. That's because the wind is blowing us back, so we can actually do a one-sided wall jump without knowing how to neutral climb. I really like these sections. Much like I like the fight against Madeline in Reflections, this is pretty much the same as I pointed out already, but it's really fun, and I wish there was like a more level surrounding that. And hey, at the end again, so far the only thing that didn't have anything at the end was the Celeste Resort section. And yeah, you're normally supposed to ride the bubble to the right here, but you have to do this if you want to 100% this level in a single run. Because, well, I mean, you could die or retry otherwise, but you can do it without dying, is the point. And somehow I'm having trouble using the momentum here. It normally sticks around for a bit after it's done moving, but it didn't seem to work here. And that is the 6th gem, and that's all of them actually, there's no more than that. And what we'll use them for is, well, you'll see. Well, this is one of those parts you can easily skip normally, like this. The reason I'm showing this mainly is because I kind of ignored it when I did my little movement talk, but if you're close enough to spikes, and they're, you know, close to wall, you can actually just jump off of them and not get harmed. It looks like it shouldn't work, but it does. At least when you're near the corners. Alright, now there's 9 more strawberries left in this level. The game's UI in the stats screen and in the save menu actually shows us that there's 175 strawberries in the game total, but going through this level and collecting every strawberry, including the ones in this level, we can only get 170 so far. Alright, here's what we use the gems for. It's almost kind of disappointing that it's just a crystal heart, but hey, I want them all. And this is the last crystal heart of the A-sides, at least. And this really is the home stretch. It's really kind of an awesome moment with everything. Just the checkpoint flags, just counting down. You know exactly how much farther you have to go that way. The wind here, by the way, pushes you down, but all that really means is that you have to get used to not jumping as high. The dash is of course unaffected, because it doesn't care about momentum. Or counter momentum, rather. I wonder how high this mountain actually is, in-game that is. Because it is way higher than 3,000 meters, considering that we are climbing at a very rapid pace, and now the wind is actually carrying us upwards. Alright, that's it. We're so close to the summit. This really is the home stretch, so let's go. I think it goes without saying that I absolutely love this game. It's definitely my favorite game of 2018 so far, and it's only April right now. I mean, the game's just great. It has really fun platforming, the dash is super fun to use. And the story is really interesting, especially if you're one of the millions of people on the planet who suffer from depression or have similar issues. Because this game is one of the few that actually handles this stuff really well. The biggest complaint about it I've heard is that it makes the process of healing seem too easy, but I don't really think that's the case. I don't think that Madeline is done healing. She's riding that high of having had some realization, some understanding about herself. And personally, I do understand that feeling. And I am still climbing my own mountain. But hey, everybody's different, and everybody is, as such, allowed to have different feelings about how this game handles the subject matter. It's also part of the reason why I didn't really talk about the story throughout the LP. Which is not over yet, by the way. While the main story is over, there's still plenty of game for us left to play. Because there's still one more bonus chapter after this. And even then, considering we have 8 chapters, there's B-sides to all of those. And the B-sides, let me tell you, there's some really good shit. And there we go, we impressed our friends. We collected all the strawberries that we could, and depending how many you collect, there's actually different screens and reaction here at the end. And we unlock the core, the 8th chapter. So let's check, yeah, we got everything, that's good. Well, this is all really nice, but the only thing that I don't like about this stat screen right now is that my time for the summit is really high. My clear time, that is. So there will be no speedrun properly, at least, because it's really hard to learn, but I will go through it fast, believe me. And maybe for the full run, it'll be much faster. But yeah, the speedrun will be its own separate video, because it's rather long. It's 15 minutes. And it will be a race against myself, like that one time I went through Golden Ridge. Anyway, this is it for now. The story's over, but the game is not. See you when we tackle the rest of it.